All right, everyone. So here's our wrestling news of the day for August 19th, 2024. Pat McAfee made a big announcement. Roman Reigns' match at Survivor Series is revealed. We'll see if this comes true, but a report is claiming pretty big things. John Cena reveals if he's going to be on Raw's Netflix debut. WWE fans, we have a little report about Triple H and what he does while he's in the gorilla position during shows, and WWE President Nick Khan's thought on the Bloodline storyline. All of that is in this video. All right, everyone. So wrestling fans are going to love this new Triple H fact. So we're reading a tweet from WrestleLlama.com. There are times when Triple H is scrolling through Twitter from gorilla position during broadcast and paying very close attention to what the audience is doing and reacting to as the shows are live on air, and they're citing PW Insider. So that's one of the coolest things I think I've heard. You have Triple H sitting there in Gorilla. You have all these people watching the um the show, giving their thoughts, and he's seeing them and I don't know, taking it in. Now, obviously, this is a dangerous path because it's like, okay, he's sitting there watching it, and then how far does he go in terms of allowing what might be a minority of the audience to dictate what's going on screen, right? Because Twitter, it's got a lot of people who are loud, but doesn't necessarily mean that that represents the majority opinion of wrestling fans. But at the same time, it is cool, and we saw this work with Cody Rhodes, where they were going in one direction and everything changed because fans were like, "Yeah, we don't want that." So, little good, little bad, but I think WWE fans are going to love to hear this. So, thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time. All right, everyone. So Pat McAfee announced that this is going to be his last Monday night on Raw for a little bit because of NFL and college football season starting. Here is what he posted.
All right, last Monday Night Raw Monday for a bit. Feeling home, run, getting stoned. Yeah, this one's for the losers, the outcasts and the sinners. You ain't never been a winner. This song's a banger. Jelly Roll, Post Malone. I'm very bummed out that tonight will be my last trip to that wonderful WWE family for a while. Alright, let's have a day. I'm bummed out. Football season starting, which is awesome. But the WWE family is where I'm supposed to be. And I know that. And I hope they do too. Cheers.
Now, obviously, a lot of people love Pat McAfee. They love the job he's done. But after this announcement, there was a few people I saw, they were posting that, a little bit critical of him. And some even said, oh, I liked him the first time, didn't like him as much this time. And I would just point out that this is a guy who is doing 1,000,001 shows and that he's traveling around everywhere. And I think hopefully the next time he's in or I don't want to say the next time, but hopefully WWE fans get a run with Pat McAfee when he truly is just fitting into that role, because I think he can be even better than he already is. And we think he's doing a great job. We think he's a great addition. He works, it's the chemistry between him and Michael Cole that make it work. If he could just be focusing on that for a whole year, right? For year round, instead of having 1,000,001 things that he's doing now, I really think that would take off. And I really think that he would be, among some of the best we've seen. Now, obviously, another thing is it's tough when you have guys like JR and you have guys like Jerry the King Lawler and Michael. I mean, these are just classic people. I mean, these are just some of the best to ever do it. And so he's finding himself just like they all had to. He's finding himself, and I think he's great. And I hope we see him again in WWE. All right, everyone. So John Cena revealed if he will be on the first Raw of 2025, which is their first time on Netflix. This is what he said after being asked in an interview with Complex. I can tell you I'll be there for the debut. I think it's 1/6. I'm not sure. I think so. Don't quote me on that. But it's a history-making day for WWE. I'm so very proud of WWE. Man, I'm such a fan of the merger. I love the two companies, WWE and Netflix, and it's an event that I will not miss. I will be there. So we reported previously on, him saying he'll probably, I think, have, 36, 35 appearances throughout his farewell tour. which is going to be a very good number. Hopefully, maybe it's bumped up a little bit. Maybe he decides to give us 37 or 38, but certainly 36 will be enough. And, this first Raw on Netflix is going to be a must watch. I mean, this is just going to be a Raw that you got to tune in for. My guess is they're going to jam pack this thing with as much as they can. Obviously people have been talking about, is it going to get edgier or what's going to happen with that? And we all have to wait and see because we really have no clue. But Netflix is just going to offer so much stuff, right? Because you're able to not only put Raw on there, but you could put, well, I guess they're already got a lot of stuff on Peacock too, but they could just do so much more on Netflix because they're not going to be, put into this place where they have to get off at a certain time, where there's commercials at a certain time. Like all of these things are changing, and I think it's going to be a change for the better. I think we're going to love Raw and how it looks in this new format, and John Cena being there is going to be a key part, right? What a way to kick off that farewell tour than showing up on Raw that first day and kind of setting the scene for what we're going to see for the rest of the year. So thank you all for watching. Make sure at the end of this video, you're going to see 2 more videos. So make sure you check those out because they're just as entertaining as this one. Thank you. All right, everyone. So at Fanatics Fest in New York, WWE's president Nick Khan gave his thoughts on the current Bloodline storyline and Roman Reigns. So this is what he said. It's the gift that keeps on giving to the fans. You've seen with Triple H and creative Roman what everybody has done together. One thing leads to another, and it keeps on living at a high level. We are really proud of that. And he knocks this out of the park 100%. This Bloodline storyline, it is crazy because, obviously Paul Heyman at this same event said, I think it's only in the 3rd inning, right? This Bloodline storyline, which is crazy because of how long it's already existed, right? This storyline has already existed for years. And now we feel like we're just getting started, right? We feel like there's so much more you could do with it. And it's really just going down as one of the greatest of all time. It really is. Like, people go back to Steve Austin and Vince, and part of the reason that storyline was so great was because it had, I mean, this one has even surpassed that length of time, really. But, I mean, unless you count, like, him stunning Vince at WrestleMania a few years ago, in that case, certainly Austin McMahon was longer. But if you count, like, the Attitude Era version of it, I mean, man, that thing was going on forever, and it was just all these new creative ways that WWE would have Austin get screwed, or Vince would do this, or Vince would do that, and it created this thing that fans, I mean, it main evented all of these different pay-per-views. And now, with this version of the Bloodline, I mean, it's going to be main eventing WrestleManias. It main evented back-to-back WrestleManias, will likely main event this coming WrestleMania, has already main evented a bunch of different pay-per-views in between. I mean, what else can you say about a storyline? I mean, how else can you determine that this storyline is a big deal? And the beauty of it is that it really isn't relying on 1 or 2 guys. Now, don't get me wrong. Cody Rhodes, right, being kind of the guy against the Bloodline, relies on him. You need him. Roman Reigns, I get it. You need him. He's a key part of the Bloodline, and without him, it all probably doesn't work out as well. Paul Heyman, he's a big addition to this whole thing, right? And now you have the new guys. But the point is that even though those guys are involved, as long as you just keep them in the company, as long as people know they're still a part or going to be a part, you can add in all of these different wrestlers and you could build up their characters, right? And this is the big reason that this is such a success, is that it's building big events, and it's taking, I mean, think about all the guys in the new version of the Bloodline right now, right? You have all these new wrestlers who are newer to WWE audiences. And think about, at the end of this, there's a chance that more stars are created from this, right? There's a chance that Solo and Jacob Fatu and, just everybody becomes somewhat of a bigger star just because they're part of this Bloodline storyline. And that is I mean, you think back to one, like Evolution. Remember Evolution? You had Randy Orton, Triple H, Ric Flair, and Dave Batista, right? Batista. Now, to be fair, at the time, Triple H and Ric Flair were already massive stars. So you can't say, oh, Evolution built them. But those two being a part of Evolution built 2 more stars, right? Dave Batista goes on to become a champion and is a big, big name in WWE. Randy Orton, to this day, is still a big name in WWE and got his start in Evolution. So you look at that and you go, man, this Bloodline thing, it could really build some stars, and it's giving WWE just fantastic, fantastic TV. and the fans are loving it. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next. All right, everyone. So we have a new report showing us what's going on with the bloodline in the future and what you can expect. So if you don't want to hear any of this, go right ahead and tune out of this video now, but go watch one of our other ones because we get a lot of good stuff. But the spoiler warning is coming. So 1, 2, 3. All right, we're going to spoil something. So according to a new report from PWX Nexus via Wrestling Buddy, the story involving Roman Reigns and the new bloodline will culminate in a War Games match at WWE Survivor Series 2024. The War Games main event will reportedly pit the original bloodline against the successors of Solo, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Jacob Fatu. Details are still somewhat unknown, but the format could see teams of 4 or 5 on each team battling for bloodline supremacy. Wrestle Talk will provide further updates on this planned Roman Reigns match for Survivor Series 2024 when they become available. So we're reading here, obviously, an article from Wrestle Talk. So this is really cool. Now, the Survivor Series pay-per-view is November 30th, according to the Google search I did, so I hope that's right, but it's November 30th, which means that we have, obviously, September and October for things to happen. Now, I think this War Games main event is going to be big, and this is exactly how WWE should be doing it, right? Because you don't want to get rid of this feud too early. So this means we have at least 3 months of this feud, and this opens up not only one side of the bloodline, but the other side. So we have 2 strong sides of the bloodline, and then after this, it's a perfect time to enter in The Rock, right? It's a perfect time to say, okay, now we're going to get The Rock involved, and we're going to see what he can do to this storyline, because we know this is almost 110% confirmed. Another spoiler warning, that it's going to be Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania. They wanted it last WrestleMania. They didn't get it. Now they get a chance to pull it off here. And we've made the point for quite some time that this actually ended up being better for everyone, right? The Rock and Roman Reigns should be happy they didn't have their match last year, because that would have been a match that certainly people would have liked, but there would have been controversy about it. Now everybody's going to universally be pumped about seeing that match. So we'll see what the WWE does here up until this point. I can't really, some of these you can kind of judge how they're going with this. I don't know necessarily where they're going, because part of the scary part of this whole thing is that if you have Roman Reigns take on Solo, well, if he loses, that takes Solo off the table. So they kind of have to actually avoid Roman Reigns fighting Solo, right? They can't have him fight at the next pay-per-view. They can't have him fight until they're ready to end the Solo portion of the storyline. And I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening, but I certainly think there's a few different ways WWE can go about this. They could have this at this match where Roman Reigns is about to beat Solo in the War Games match, and then out of nowhere The Rock comes in and beats him, and then Solo is questioning everything now, and Solo goes back with Roman, and now it's Rock and his bloodline versus there are so many different things that they could do. And so with the way WWE has been telling stories, you have to believe they're going to hit this one out of the park as well. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time. There are other videos at the end of this that you should check